Hello, and welcome to Sacred Shadow Alchemy. I am Kiki, your friend Shadow Alchemist, and tonight I have a message for you about liberation. The energies right now are all about liberation, so we are having a full moon soon this weekend, and I've been feeling in my body for a few days this purging energy, especially in the solar plexus area. So if you have been feeling it too, you're not crazy. It's like it's in the air. So that's what I wanted to look at in the cards for you tonight. I wanted to look at what are you liberating right now, and if you're not purging yet, if you are not, if nothing is coming out for you yet, maybe we can check what you can look at so that you know what to release, because the shadows and the conditioning that you hold in your body and in your energetic system are the blocks, and are the blocks that are between you and your best life, basically. So that's why I call myself a shadow alchemist, because you are whole and complete already. You are not your conditionings. I say it all the time in all my videos. All of that, that's your shadow. Your shadow is not bad. It's just all the stuff that you have been hiding from yourself or from others. The personality and the mask you have been building as a protection, and maybe they were useful in your childhood, because in your childhood it's all about surviving physically, and sometimes at the detriment of your mental or energetical health. But now, if you are looking this channel, you are grown up, I assume, and now it's time to look at all these conditionings and all these masks to see if they are serving you or not, or if they are blocks. And I don't know, my dog is wanting something. He needs attention, so maybe there is things that need attention from you too, and that's what I want to look at with you now. So dites-moi ce qui a besoin d'être libéré, s'il vous plaît, pour le collectif YouTube. Qu'est-ce qui a besoin d'être libéré aujourd'hui pour ouvrir l'espace à une véritable transformation de vie? Strength. We had it last time, so if you didn't see the last reading from last week, maybe you can check it, because the message is repeating itself. What I hear right now for you is strong children, strong kids are burned out adults. So I have the feeling that in your childhood you have to be really strong. Maybe you have been parentified. So, and I'm hearing especially for older daughters. So if you are the oldest daughter of the family and you had parents who had to work a lot, and you had to look to be super strong and self-sufficient and independent, and right now in my mind I'm seeing the Matilda version in the Danny DeVito film, in the film with Danny DeVito. Yes, and yeah, my dog is confirming, and it's for the next card too. We will come back to it. But you were a really strong kid, and it was unfair. I feel a lot of injustice, and I feel it in my body right now. And I hope my dog will calm down, because it's hard to concentrate. I think I will check on him and then I will come back. So sorry for the interruption. My dog wanted his goodnight carrot, so Now he will be, I think, at peace. So maybe it's part of the message for you too. I feel it is, because we will talk about it later because of this card. It's about giving your inner child what you didn't get as a child, but we will get to it. So right now it's about strength and the fact that you had to be strong as a child, too strong. It was a kind of injustice. So maybe you have been parentified, meaning that you had too much responsibility for your age. Maybe, I don't know, taking care of siblings or being a lot alone at home. Maybe your parents were not really emotionally attuned. Or maybe you had to take to take on too much responsibility for your age. Maybe you were moved against your will because suddenly your parents had to move because of work or something. And I see that because of this card, it's a grieving energy. So maybe what's coming up for you right now with this full moon, and what is a block in your energy to manifest your best life, is that you stuffed away grief. What I'm hearing is, especially when you had parents who were not super attuned to you emotionally, and it's not a critic against the parents, they have their own stuff, their own trauma. So it's nothing against the parents, but maybe the situation was move on. Like, I just moved against my will and lost all of my friends, but I don't have a choice anyway, so I will just move on. Yet get along with that, move on. It doesn't bring anything to complain about it, because I can't. Like, as a child, you have no power. You rely on the adults around you for your survival. So if you learned to resign as a child, and it's confirmation for a lot of you, you learn from a young age that it brings nothing to fight against it. And you have to get along with that, because complaining about it, maybe you were gaslit, like, no, it's not that a big deal, or the stuff that adults say to children when they don't want to deal with their emotion, like you're crying because you have lost all of your friends because you're moving, and your parents say, yeah, it's okay, you will have new friends. So like they bottle away all your grief and your emotion and try to cheer you up and say things like that. So even if it's the intent is not bad or something, but it's not what you would have needed. You would have needed to grieve, and now all this bottled grief is coming out, and that's why maybe you feel bad in your body. You feel like with digestive issues or heartbreak or sadness, you're tired, you don't feel well in your body, and it's because all this grief is coming up for you to process. So if you have been dealing with stuff in your body, with symptoms, and you've got checked by a medical professional and they can't find anything, it's likely an energetic purge, and it can go a bit more smoothly if you know what it is about. Even if you don't know, it's not that a big deal, because your body is working like in the shadow, but it helps to know why it is, because then you can, oh yeah, I have a blockage right now, so maybe this grieving, maybe you could never express yourself, and that's what you are grieving. It's all the things you would have liked to say to your parents, and maybe you don't dare, because they will get defensive, or sometimes you as an adult, you try to talk to your parents about stuff that happened. You don't want to be aggressive, or you don't want to, your intention is not to say to them you were bad parents. It's just, you just want to share things that happened in your childhood and that it was not good for you. It's not an accusation, it's just a constatation, and you don't need your parents to change anything about the past, because it's in the past. You just want to share how you felt as a child. and they dismiss you, and they feel attacked, personally attacked, because maybe deep down they know what they did, but they don't want to look at it. And sometimes it's what you're grieving to is like an equal relationship with your parents as an adult, because if you have been parentified, typically parents who do that, and again, it's nothing, I'm not bashing parents, I'm a parent too, I know how hard it is, and I know they are doing the best in most cases. Of course you have super toxic cases, but in most cases they are doing their best with their own trauma and limitation. So it's not an excuse for them, it's just an explanation. But these kind of parents, they tend to treat you like an adult when you are a child, and like a child when you are an adult. So when you finally grew up and you feel like an adult in an adult body, finally, and not like an adult in a child body, you can't really have a relationship like an equal with your parents. So that's really strange. I've observed that a lot. So anyway, oh yeah, it's very I feel really oppressed. So maybe some of you, it's the childhood, maybe they felt oppressed in the childhood, like they can't express themselves, and I really feel like you have to grieve something. So an event of your childhood, or maybe a lot of them, and like the lost childhood, the childhood you would have deserved, but that you never had. So I feel that as a confirmation, your parents or your father figure, or even your mother, it doesn't care. Like, I feel like the people who have been taking care of you expected from you to be really reasonable and logical, and not to show a big display of emotions, like, again, that you couldn't really express yourself, that you had to be strong and logical. And maybe they were not really warm people, the people who raised you. For instance, the kind of people that say, when you're sad, oh, don't cry, don't fuss about this small thing. Or again, maybe they mean well, maybe they want you to be strong, because they had to be strong themselves too. Maybe they didn't have the capacity, the resources to deal with the big emotions of a child, especially if you were quite sensitive. Because I have the feeling that if you are here looking at me, watching me, it's because you are an old soul and very sensitive to the energy. So maybe you could see beyond the masks, and when there are stress in the family, you could feel it, and it amplified all of your emotions, but you had to swallow them. You were not allowed to express yourself. You had to be reasonable, and especially, as I said in the beginning, because I think right now I'm talking to the oldest child, most likely a daughter or feminine energy. So even if you were a boy, maybe your dominant energy is yin, is feminine. It doesn't care how you identify. I feel like the oldest child with a feminine energy had to be strong, had to take care of others, had to keep the peace and the harmony in the family, had to be reasonable, had to put her desire last, like what she would have needed and wanted. And sometimes you had dreams or things that brought you joy, and let's say, for instance, you had always wanted to ride horses as a child, but in your family you didn't have the money, or it was too complicated with the logistics, and you never expressed the desire because you knew that it was not reasonable, that your parents would say no. So you never expressed it, because you learned from a young age that it doesn't matter what you say, what you think, and what you feel, you will not be heard. And if it's coming out for you, this kind of energy, what you can do about it is to go and have a deep dive into, like, a deep talk with your inner child, maybe as a letter. Maybe you can write yourself a letter. The adult self writes to little you, and you address the letter, you write really kindly to yourself, and you really talk with your inner child, and you can talk about all these desires that you can talk about this lost childhood, this childhood where you had to be strong and reasonable, and when you didn't have the space and the room to express yourself, to express your feelings, where you couldn't grieve certain things, certain people, certain places. So maybe you can go back, if you can afford it, or if it's feasible for you. Have a trip to your hometown if you can, or if you live here already, to the places you liked as a child, and say goodbye. Review a bit your memories and take your inner child back to this place. Or just, as I said, just write a letter, and you can make a promise to your inner child that you will do things that brings you joy. For instance, I really love to ice skate, but as a child I never did that because we didn't have a proper place to do that. But I have always liked it, and now as an adult I make a point of going ice skating at least once a year in the winter, and it's a lot of fun, really. I'm not really good at it, but it's fun because I never properly trained for that. So if there is a hobby or something, a place, Disneyland, I don't know, something for your inner child, something you have always wanted to do as a child, give it to yourself. Or if you liked to paint as a child, then paint. Take a class, or just buy cheap stuff to paint and don't care about the outcome. Just do it, just for fun. Find the joy, find the childish joy, but childish in a good way, not in a negative way. So promise your child, your inner child, that you will do stuff that brings you joy, or go places that you liked to, and promise too that from now on you will allow yourself to express yourself, even if you don't say anything to anyone. Even if you are a private person, you can always write a journal, write yourself a letter, something. Just express yourself, express your true feelings. Nobody cares and judges you, and if they do in your family or your loved ones, then they don't really fully accept you as yourself. Maybe it's time to look at your relationships and to like declutter, like make more room for people who accept you as you are, with all your big emotions, and get rid, if you can, of the people, or limit the contact to a maximum. For instance, even with your parents, it's okay to love them from a distance if they are not good for you. If you can't have a healthy dynamic with them, it's okay. I'm hearing right now, you don't owe them anything. Be grateful for what they gave you in the past. Be grateful for roof, shelter, food, your life. But even for that, you are a soul, and you chose to incarnate in this family. So you chose it knowing what would happen because you had lessons to learn, and they chose to have a child. So it's like the contract is done. Now, as an adult, they did their job, they raised you, and respect them because they gave you life, this physical body and so on. But you can love them or respect them from a distance if it's not doing you any good. And you don't have to tell them that. You don't have to tell them, I will go on a distance on something. Just space a bit your interaction with them, or have, if you normally you visit them for 3 hours, maybe just stay 1 hour instead of 3. If you call them every day, maybe call them every other day or once a week or something. You don't have to communicate. You don't have, especially if you tried to talk with them about stuff that happened and they dismissed you. You don't owe them any explanation. You don't have to people please them. Just take good care of your inner child. You need a bit of joy, a bit of like a fresh start. And I'm still really oppressed. You need to be free. Maybe it will do you good. So take a deep breath. I need one right now. And yeah, it's a fresh energy because we have another print, another page. And this one was reversed. So I have the feeling that maybe your nervous system is a bit of a wreck. You are always like hyper vigilant. Never, like as a child, sometimes your parents were in a good mood and then everything was fine. And sometimes they weren't, and it had nothing to do with you, but you were always looking like you used your hypersensitivity and like your your sixth sense to assess the mood of your caregivers, your caretakers, so that you knew exactly when to hide, when to smooth their mood, when to, like, you were trained to be a people pleaser, always hyper vigilant. And yeah, take care of your inner child and take care of your nervous system. And you can do both at the same time. For instance, if you like to sing, then sing. It brings joy and it helps to activate the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve is super important. Research it if you feel like if this resonates, if you feel like this reading is for you, maybe you can research the vagus nerve to help calm your hypervigilance. And how do you know that your nervous system is a wreck? Is if you startle easily, like if every time something goes boom, you just are scared, or if you can't really relax, like typically, I don't know, you are scrolling on your couch and then your spouse or children or somebody, you hear them coming from afar, and like you spring, you jump from the couch and begin to be productive, like you begin to do some laundry or to clean up or something because you don't want to be caught lazy. So that can be a sign. If you have insomnia or you can't really rest, deep rest, you are sleeping enough at night, but when you wake up you are not really rested. If you feel, I don't know, bloated and like whatever you eat, no matter how healthy you eat, you can't get rid of excess weight or something, because cortisol is the stress hormone. If you are always in a fight-flight kind of mood in your nervous system, then you have too much cortisol in your blood and you are on high alert all the time, and so a lot of functions of your body can't function normally. Like you can't regulate your weight normally. Maybe you have autoimmune diseases because it's because your body is on high alert for years and for years, and you don't even notice it because it's your normal way of life. But you will see, once you begin to calm your nervous system, you will feel so much better, and you will never want to go back. So maybe you can, it's a topic you can research, how to calm your nervous system, or how to reset your nervous system, how to activate your vagus nerve. Maybe you can check the work of the Dr. Gabor Mate. It's really interesting how he describes what is a trauma and how the childhood shapes us in the nervous system, in in our psychology. So it's time to relax. You don't have to be guarded all the time and to check all the time around you to see from where the danger will be coming. And if you're still living in such an environment, maybe it's time to change it too. Like if you are in a toxic job or a toxic living like situation or relationship, if you have the feeling with your spouse, for instance, that you can't relax in their presence, that you feel better physically when they're not around, or anyone else for that matter, not just your spouse, begin to use your nervous system. That's what I did a few years ago, and it really helped to assess who is healthy for you or not, because your body talks to you, and your intuition talks to you through your body. So if you don't feel well in the presence of someone in your body, then your body is far more intelligent than your body has its own intelligence, and as I said, it talks to you. Your intuition talks to you through your body. So learn how to tune into your body, and you will have better access to your intuition. And you can reprogram yourself. You don't have to be reasonable all the time. You can trust your gut feeling. You are hypersensitive, as I said. So you can trust your instinct. You can trust your intuition. And how to train that? If you've never done that, one way is to learn what's a yes, a hell yes and a hell no in your body. So to do that, you just need to think about something where you know for sure that's a hell yeah. For instance, think about something you really, really love to do, or a person you really, really love, and imagine a situation with them. Like, do you want to see this person? Do you want to do this activity? And if it's a hell yes, then pay attention what's happening in your body. How does it manifest this hell yeah for you? Like for myself, it's excitement. Like my heart is racing, and I feel like a bit giddy, a bit. I'm not sure about the word in English. I feel like super excited, like a child on Christmas Eve, And do the same with hell no. For me, it's like I feel like smaller and constrained and oppressed. So if I have such a feeling in my body, I always say no, even if I can't explain it rationally. Like it can be for a job, like a job looking good on paper and everything looks just fine. But I think, oh no, hell no. And I have no explanation for that. I say no, I learned to trust my intuition and my gut instincts, because they were never wrong. Sometimes in the past, I tried to be reasonable. So like for a job, for instance, if everything is good on paper, but I don't feel it, I would have said yes anyway, and then worked the job for a few weeks or a few months, and then notice, no, that's really not for me. And then I quit. And it was a useful experience anyway, so it was not wrong to do that. But now I have passed this level. I think I can learn what I need to learn in healthy situations. I don't need to suffer anymore. So maybe you suffer anyway because the situation is what it is, but you can trust your gut feeling. You are high sensitive, and in the beginning it can feel off because you're not used to it. You are used to be super reasonable and logical and use your mind, because your hypersensitivity was maybe mocked, or you were gaslit, or like you were made believe that you couldn't trust your guts. But you can. You are a really intuitive person, and you are really strong, and resilient. So even if in the beginning you make mistakes using your intuition, it's okay, because you are strong, so you can deal with that, and it will help you fine-tune your gut feeling, your intuition. It will help you learn how to communicate with it. So you can't do anything wrong. You will just learn. So breathe. Maybe it's part of the message too, because Deep belly breathing is a way to activate the vagus nerve too. So if you don't meditate yet, maybe it's time to begin. And if you don't know how, just breathe. Just take conscious deep breaths. You can listen to calming music, maybe I'm hearing some healing frequencies like solfeggio. Maybe you can just tune in some solfeggio on YouTube or somewhere where you listen, and just take deep breaths while you are drinking your tea in the morning, or every time you need a little reset. And yeah, train your body, train yourself about how to feel safe in your body. You are safe now. If you weren't as a child, if you had to be strong because you were not safe in your family. And it doesn't have to be dramatic. It's sufficient with this. Maybe you were safe physically, but not emotionally. Maybe you were not safe to be yourself. Maybe you were not safe to show your sensitivity. Now you are. Now you have your own back. Now you can be your own parent. I'm hearing Nicole Pera, I think it's the holistic psychologist on social media. She talks about parentification and stuff. So if you feel called to do it, maybe check her work too. It will help, I think. So this is the message. You are free, you are safe, you have your own back, you take good care of your inner child, you can do joyful things for yourself. Do what brings you joy. Go deep, 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 deep into your childhood dream. So maybe, and if you don't know where to begin, because maybe you had the feeling that you were never a carefree child, then just ask yourself, what did I like to do when I was like 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, and do more of that. Maybe it was drawing, or hang out with your friends, or spend time in your garden, playing with animals, with dogs. I don't know. Just think about it for yourself and do it. Your inner child will be super thankful, and it will bring more joy and playfulness in your life. So I hope that this message resonated with you and that it helped. If you want more of this kind of messages, just follow the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.